Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt and welcome back to another short war video, and today we have very big news coming out of Ukraine, the Middle East, and also the United States. But by far our biggest news of the day is we're hearing from Zelensky directly, and he is telling us that the North Korean troops are currently entering the front lines in Ukraine and launching assaults on Ukrainian positions, and we do have some videos showing allegedly North Korean soldiers entering the battlefield in really old style battlefield tactics, indicating they have no clue what they're doing. But we also have some more news here that apparently the oil refinery in the city of Oryol inside of mainland Russia has caught on fire a second time and caused a catastrophic explosion, and we have that as well. And we're also getting news that Ukraine has destroyed an Su-30 flanker with Ukrainian saboteurs behind the front lines. And on another front, we are hearing the Russians are evacuating their bases in Syria, and we also have some more news about the ongoing US airspace incursions by some sort of drones in our airspace across the country. So with that, we're jumping into our first piece of news of the day, which goes to Nexta. And we can see right here in this post that Zelensky is saying that the Russians have begun using North Korean soldiers in assaults. And Zelensky said, quote unquote, "Today there is preliminary evidence that the Russians have started using North Korean soldiers in assaults, a very noticeable number," and that was stated by, of course, the president of Ukraine. He also noted that the North Korean soldiers might be deployed in other areas of the front line as well. So this is a big deal because so far the North Koreans have been in support roles for the Russian military, and now they're entering a direct combat role right on the front line, and they're actually sending units of North Korean soldiers right into the front and right into the battlefield to fight Ukraine. So that is something new that we're seeing today. And also moving into our next post here, this one goes to Chris Owicki, and we're actually seeing here a video alleging to show the North Koreans running into battle. But I do want to put a little bit of a disclaimer on this one. We don't have the exact identity of these troops. This is being purported to be North Korean troops, but we're going to have to go with that for the moment, considering that Zelensky is confirming the fact that these troops are appearing on the front lines. But allegedly, this appears to show North Koreans entering the battlefield. So let's take a look. And this video right here has no audio whatsoever, but as you can see, there is a large group and unit of troops right here that appear to be just running into the battlefield, and they're in the wide open, like there's no cover or anything out here. So I'm really not sure what the plan is that these guys are doing. I did see that Chris Owicki did mention that these guys appear to be running into battle like 1950 style tactics, and it could be like, it looks like just a huge meat wave running into the battlefield for the slaughter. So I'm not really sure what the tactic is here. Whoever this is though, that is extremely stupid. Like, that is not a good strategy to run right into the battlefield like that, and allegedly that is North Korean troops. So there you go. So we'll have to wait for more confirmation on that. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Blaskovka, and we are getting more information about the fire at the oil refinery in the Oryol region of Russia. And according to Russian state media, a second tank caught fire at that oil depot, and we do have the video evidence of that as well. So let's take a look at this massive destruction at this oil depot. And there you have it. Look at that. That is a hell of a fire right there. A big canister or barrel or whatever you want to call it, a tank of oil, I guess that'd be the best word for it, has caught on fire here at this oil refinery, and it is catastrophically bad for the Russians. And it looks like usual, the fire is going to spread to the other containers here at the oil depot. The Russians are not getting this under control. As you did see there, the Russian fire department was on the sides of the street, but they are not putting stuff out for some reason. They are standing pretty far back, and there they are once again, just a fire truck sitting there. They're watching the fire like a spectator. I guess they're arsonists. But anyways, we are moving on from this post and into our next one here, and this one goes to Null Reports. And we got yet even another angle of the fire. And I know how much y'all love these fire footages right here coming out of Russia, because once again, we love to see the Russian oil industry burning, because that means the war is coming closer to an end, because that means the Russian economy might be coming to an end. So let's take a look at this video and see the second angle. And there it is, another angle of that catastrophic fire right there, and you can see a ton of black smoke in the air, and that is a very, very bad situation for the Russians. They're losing more oil and petroleum products, which they desperately need to fight the war right now, and now they're losing that, as you can see right here in the video. So just more proof that the city of Oryol is having a very big problem, and it looks like it's going to probably get worse before it gets better, actually. But moving on here to our next post, this one goes to OSINT Technical, and we have another piece of pretty big news right here. We heard that overnight, Ukrainian saboteurs were able to sneak into the Russian Krymsk air base and torch a modern Russian Air Force Su-30 flanker. And I like the fact that we have to specify it's a modern flanker because, you know, Russia has a lot of antique aircraft in their fleet, so we had to specify this is the modern one that Russia does have in their possession. But we did see it get destroyed last night. It got torched by some Ukrainian saboteurs kindly going behind the front lines and going to get this plane. So let's take a look. And unfortunately, I had to mute this audio. Actually, it is playing some music in the background, but there it is. Look at that, a big fire right under that Su-30 flanker, and that is probably going to torch that plane quite nicely, actually, and that's a very expensive plane that Russia will have a hard time replacing. And remember, right now, Russia is trying to get their remaining fighter jet aircraft out of Syria because they're having a hard time being able to negotiate their way out of that situation, so it looks like Russia is in store for some more aircraft losses, even outside of Syria, because these saboteurs are sneaking in and getting these jets. So very good to see, and a good catch by the Ukrainian saboteurs. But moving on to our next post here, this one's going to go to Nexta. And today we are getting even more confirmation that apparently, according to Reuters, Russia is beginning a partial troop withdrawal from Syria, but has no plans to leave its bases. And also it says Russia is pulling back troops from the front lines in northern Syria and post in the Alawite Mountains, while maintaining its presence at its bases, specifically its air bases and naval facilities in Tartus, according to 4 Syrian officials. And also, we see here that Russia apparently has no intention of fully abandoning its main bases in Syria at this time. So it looks like things might be changing just a little bit. It looked like Russia might have been very unwelcome inside of Syria at first, but now after the Israeli airstrikes, it looks like things might be changing just a bit, and Russia might be allowed to be staying here inside of Syria at their air bases. So this could be a watershed moment for the Russian relations with the Syrian rebels, but we're currently waiting more confirmation on that. But we do have some more information here in our next post, which goes to Regip Soylu. And we can see here that the HTS leader Jelani says that he gave Russians a chance to reconsider the relationship with the Syrian people, and he said, quote unquote, "We are not about to engage in a conflict with Israel," said the HTS leader. So we've been saying here on this channel for quite some time that Israel might have overstepped just a little bit by going straight in and destroying all of the HTS leader's equipment that he took over from the prior Syrian government. And it looks like that the Israeli strikes might have had a huge impact on whether or not the HTS leader was going to speak with the Russians and give them a chance to stay. And it looks like that has caused the Russians to have a little bit of a gap here to be able to basically shoot their way back in and stay inside of Syria, which is something that we were hoping would not happen, but it looks like that is probably going to end up happening at this point. But once again, like I said, we need more confirmation of it before reaching any concrete conclusions, but it looks like the Russians might have a chance to stay inside of Syria at the moment. So that is currently developing right now. And also, moving on to our next post here, this one goes to BNO News. And also, we got some more news here coming out of a different region of the world. We're hearing from the South Koreans today, and the South Korean parliament has now voted to impeach President Yoon, the one who declared martial law and tried to take the government over just a short while back, and apparently he has been suspended from office according to this parliamentary vote. So President Yoon is now in political trouble for his actions, and once again, that is something we were wondering if it was going to happen because the first impeachment vote actually failed, but this one has succeeded. So it looks like he is officially impeached according to the vote. But we also have some more news here from Guy Elster, and it looks like President Yoon might have had his fair share of troubles and woes, and he might be ready to walk away. It says here that President Yoon says he will resign after his impeachment by the South Korean parliament. So, of course, we have to wait and see if this is actually going to be as peaceful as it sounds. So far, President Yoon has been acting very, very odd with how he's dealing with the government, and if he actually resigns and just steps down peacefully, that would be the best case scenario, and hopefully that is what happens. That would be the best for peace and also just civility overall. So hopefully he does do that and it goes pretty smooth. But with that, we are now moving into our next major piece of news here, and this is a story that many people are either getting tired of hearing, they don't believe it, some people believe it very strongly, but people are pretty much all over the place with this one. And we are getting some more news about the alleged drone incursions inside of U.S. airspace and also at U.S. airspace above bases overseas as well. So today we are getting word that the governor, Kathy Hochul of New York, has demanded that the current U.S. administration deploy additional federal law enforcement to New York amid drone activity in the airspace. And I'm not going to read this entire statement right here. If you want to take a look at it, here it is. But basically what the governor is saying is they are having unknown incursions in their airspace. These drone sightings that they're allegedly being seen on social media are apparently showing up at their airports and causing issues with commercial airliners taking off at the airports, of course. So we are currently seeing that right now. And once again, many people believe this might have been a hoax, but this does indicate that there is something in the skies. We simply don't know what it is right now. It could be maybe our own drones. It could be a foreign adversary. It could be anything at this point. Right now, Homeland Security really does not know the answer to that question, or if they do, they are keeping it from the American people. So it looks like the governor is getting fed up there in New York, and they need more help to be able to address that drone activity. But anyways, moving on to our next post here, we have one from us on Twitter at It's the Enforcer, and it's actually a reposting of a New York congresswoman demanding answers for the recent sightings of drones in U.S. airspace. So let's take a look at this video and see what the congresswoman has to say about these drones. It sounds like she's pretty fed up, but let's take a listen.
What is happening is outrageous. Thousands of drones in unmanned aerial systems flying above us, and our government is not telling us who's operating them and for what purpose. I don't believe that the United States of America, with its military capabilities, does not know what these objects are.
All right, so I'm actually going to pause it right there and not play the entire statement, but if you want to see that, that is available to see on YouTube as well if you want to take a look at it. But the Congresswoman is basically saying here that she believes that the government knows what these are, and she is confirming that she has heard reportings and also seen sightings of the drones herself, apparently. So that is more confirmation that something is going on, that even the government of New York is really not aware of what's happening, and they are demanding more transparency from the federal government, who allegedly knows what's happening according to these politicians. But moving on here to our last post of the day, we have a very interesting one here, and this was from Disclosed TV. And in this post right here, we can see that an ABC News crew was apparently filming a story on the drones, and they caught this image right here, which I can't play the video sadly because I'm not going to risk the copyright violation here, but there is a picture here of a drone in the skies right there of some sort or something. I'm really not sure if that's a drone because ABC News crew apparently didn't even know what this was. They said, we have no idea what it is, but they did film this while they were filming a story about the drone, and I'm really just not sure what to make of it. Some people are saying it's a hoax, some people are saying it's a blurred light that someone took a video of, but I would tend to believe that a reputable news channel like ABC7 is not out here filming dimmed lights on the ceiling to try to pull a hoax on people. That's probably not what's happening here, and this appears to be something, but right now it's remaining pretty much unexplained. So whatever it is, I hope we get some more transparency from the government on this issue, and once again, folks, please don't go in the comments going absolutely wild and ham. We are not making any claims as to what this might be. We actually don't know either. We're as knowledgeable as anybody else at this point, but I would like to hear some more information from the U.S. government as to what they know about the situation, because surely they have to know some more, and they're simply not telling us. And it seems like the American people probably deserves an answer to that question, considering this is literally floating right over our heads. So with that, folks, that is actually our last piece of news for the day. And if you found today's video informative, please press the like button on the video and also subscribe to the channel as well. And if you've made it to this point in the video, go down to the comments below and put LSA down there and let us know that you watched to the very end. And of course, we appreciate you all watching, and we love to hear the very kind feedback about the videos because we enjoy making them and we're glad that you find them informative. But with that, also go check out our Patreon page. If you want to support the channel that way, we do have our Patreon page, and the link is in the description below for that, where you can go over there and sign up for a monthly membership and support the channel financially, which is of course a very big help because it's largely how we stay running, is being crowdfunded by the viewers. But with that, folks, we'll see you all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern on our next nightly war news stream, and with that, bye-bye for now.